the TikTok trends. You've got the 666, which is 6 figures, 6 foot, 6 inches. And I think the height one, especially, obviously that is something out of people's control, as well as like the length of your old boy. But that's clearly an issue because you see fellas, like where you see it on social media and stuff like that, where fellas are maybe 5'9", 5'10", 5'11", and on the dating profiles they'll put 6 foot because that'll get the initial view of certain women that like that characteristic. And then obviously you go and meet up in person and it's like, you're clearly not 6 foot, why are you lying? So there's clearly an issue on that side of things. And then you've got the 6'5", blue eyes, works in finance and a trust fund. And I did get a few DMs off the back of that saying it must be easy for me because I tick quite a lot of those boxes. So I'm 6'4", loosely work in finance. I've got blue eyes, but I don't have a trust fund. But yeah, like obviously I can't speak from the side of guys that are below 6 foot and all the rest of it. But there's clearly, those trends are clearly having an impact on men's mental health if they're having to lie on dating profiles to then potentially get a view that they may not have if they had put 5'10" or 5'11", which is quite sad, but considering like it's not that massive of a difference. But there seems to be this sort of threshold of 6 foot plus, and anything under is classed as a short king online. And you know, there are women out there that kind of want guys that are under 6 foot. There are women that want guys that are over 6 foot. It's all preference at the end of the day. I think like the average height for women is something like 5'4" or 5 or something like that in the UK. And then the average height for men is, I'm sure it's about 5'10". So like there's a clear difference in expectations because if your average height for a woman is like say 5'4", 6 foot 8 inches difference, like that's not a small gap. And obviously that's an average. So there's people either ends of those spectrums. So this whole thing about 6 foot it's above the average height for a man. So yeah, it's like expectations and things like that. So there's obviously a lot of guys under 6 foot that still have girlfriends, wives, boyfriends, whatever the preference is. So let's just, take it for what it is. It's a social media trend, which in the grand scheme of things means absolutely nothing. Because like I mentioned just before, there's that whole trend of the thigh gap, but now it's being strong and having thick thighs and the whole gym movement. So take it with a pinch of salt, fellas. I don't think 6 foot is a deal breaker unless there are, obviously tall women, but they are also few and far between if they're 6 foot plus anyway.